Dear students, welcome to the next lecture video on the system software. In the lecture number 6, we'll be discussing about the multi-programming operating system, that is the third in the types of operating system. The multi-programming is nothing but the capacity of the CPU to execute two or more programs concurrently. See here, if there is a single CPU existing in the computer, the single CPU will be acting like it is executing all the instructions at a time or many processes at a time or two or more programs executing at a time, but in reality it will be not doing so. It will be shifting from one process to the another process, which will be executing one program or the another program depending upon the switching time. So the programming here is going to be involved. So essentially two or more programs are stored simultaneously or one after other in the primary memory, that is the RAM, and the CPU moves from the one program to the another program, not executing the one program to the fullest, but partially executing each in turn. So in turn it will be taking out how many statements it has to execute. Like for example, it has to execute 5 programs. The 5 programs need to be executed, then it will be executing the first program, then from the first program it will be shifting to the second program, from the second it will be shifting to the third, but partially it will be executing the instructions. That means not all the programs are been completed, that is program number 1 is not completed to the fullest, then it will allocate certain time for the first program and shifts to the second program. Okay, so one after other, the dedicated time it will be giving, after that dedicated time it will be moving to the next program to execute if there are more than one program to be executed. Now there are, depending upon where they are used, there are different types. All these are going to implement the multi-programming operating system, that is executing one or more program. We have multitasking operating system, multi-user operating system, time-sharing operating system, and real-time operating system. Let us jump into the multitasking operating system and we will see. See this image, what do you have? A person is performing many tasks simultaneously or at a time. So this is a way of performing the task simultaneously or the multitasking. Multitasking means a single person performing many jobs at the same time. You see this person is speaking on the phone, texting to somebody, checking out his mails, okay, taking out the printouts from the printer, pampering the dog, okay, all these tasks are being done. So he is a multitasker. So the multitasking operating system has the same feature that we have explained in the diagram. So it allows one or more programs or more than one program to run simultaneously or concurrently. See, when he is typing, he will be thinking about something. When he will be checking out the email, he will be halting for some time, but he is doing everything at a time, but not one thing, okay, perfectly. So he is shifting from one place to another place. So the tasks share the common process resources, which can be the CPU cycle or the RAM memory, that is called as the main memory, which will be shared among the multiple programs. So in this process, only one CPU will be involved, but it is going to switch from one program to the another program so quickly that it gives us the feeling or appearance of executing all the programs at the same time. Multitasking can also be considered as the context switching. The very best example for this is if you are copying different files from different place and pasting at one place. So you see 5 files you are copying from different. So first file you copied and pasted, second file you copy and paste, like that all the 5 files you copy and paste. When you paste this files, see that all the pasting options are moving, but in reality it will be only one file moving at a time. So for example, 10 seconds file 1 will be moving. After 10 seconds finished, okay, then it will move to the second file. So when the first 10 seconds are being executed, that means first files are being copied, the file 2, file 3, file 4 and file 5 have to wait in queue, but you will get an image which is showing that it is copying, but actually it is not being copied in reality. When it is moving to the second file for the copying or context switching is been done, the first file, third file, fourth file and fifth file are in waiting or in a queue for the processing cycle. So this is how the operating system will be showing us as if it is performing all the tasks at a time, but in reality it will be shifting from one to other. The next kind of operating system is the multi-user operating system. Multi means many users. Okay, so many users we have in this operating system. So it allows us many different users to be taking the advantages of the resources of the computer simultaneously. So what do you mean by computer resources? The resources can be the combination of hardware or software. They can be connected for the purpose of sharing the software, or it can be hardware also. Like in the software, we'll talk about if the Tally is installed, the licensed version of Tally has been installed in this particular computer, or licensed version of Microsoft Office is been installed in this computer, then all the users who are connected to this particular system can use the licensed version. But if there is a hardware that is, let's consider a printer, a printing job need to be performed, then all the person will not get the individual printer. Instead, the main computer to all others are connected will have the printer. You should submit the printing job for that. So this is sharing of the hardware, and the Microsoft Office was an example for sharing the software. So it is going to allow the multiple user to access the computer system at the same time. It can be accessing for any other purpose. So time sharing system and internet server are the best examples of multi-user operating system. Like example, you have Facebook, many users will log in into the Facebook, will have a server. Okay, you have Gmail accounts, you have different types of accounts like YouTube account and all that. Many users will be logging in. Okay, so that is multi-user operating system. So in the multi-user operating system, you can see terminal A, it's nothing but a computer 1, computer 2, computer 3 will be sharing the CPU, that is central processing. So multi-operating system shares the process time also. Everybody gets the CPU cycle for certain milliseconds or certain seconds. When terminal A is getting its data processed, terminal B and C will be in the waiting process. When terminal B is working, terminal A and terminal C will be in the waiting, like that they will be in a queue or in a line. So like this, we can increase and maintain the individual computer environment where terminal A has separate interface for terminal B, and terminal C will have separate interface. Individual authentication and security level and privileges can also be provided for the user, where the users will have resource usage accountability. Now, what do you mean by authentication? Individual authentication. Authentication is the process of validating or checking whether you are the one who is having the rights to access to the system or no. And this could be done by using the valid username and password. Now you can see in the graphical diagram where the person will be entering his number. Directly a message will go to his registered mobile number. The registered mobile number will ask you whether you are the person who has connected to this. Then you will click on the approval, and then it will go for the second time authentication, that is checking your face. Okay, or similarly this thing will happen with Google also. When you have not going to confirm with your password, you will confirm the identification by the phone, whether you are the one who is logging in, and a number will be displayed on the screen. That number you will be getting onto the mobile, you have to click on the option, then you will be authenticated or allowed to go. So that's the process of authentication. Security level. The login is the one which provides security. Nobody can access from the outside. And privileges are nothing but rights given to the data. Privileges are nothing but who can have what amount of data or what amount of approval of data. Like for example, can anybody directly log into the chairman chamber? Okay, chairman of the college, no, only principal can log in or can come inside the chamber. Now, can I log in directly into the principal chamber? Yes, of course. Okay, so see the different type of security level. I cannot directly go and log in into the chairman chamber, okay, depending upon the rights. So you can directly come to my staff room, but you cannot directly go to the principal chamber. You need to have certain privileges, you need to have certain rights, you need to ask for the permissions. Okay, so that is resource usage accountability will be already there in the software. So the very best example of the multi-user operating system we have is the Unix operating system. It's a kind of operating system how you have Windows 9, Windows 8, Windows 10 and all those. So VMS, mainframe operating system, are all the example of the multi-user operating system where many users are connected to the single system for the purpose of sharing the resources. It can be hardware or software resource. It has certain advantages, what we'll be talking about in this slide. The multi-user operating system can be used for printing jobs. The best example we have seen with diagram in the introduction to this. Okay, in the office or library you can be using to handle multiple user who wants to print. So it cannot be handled by the normal operating system because printing mismatches will take place. Okay, when many users will give print at the same time, all the printouts will be in a queue or will be printed automatically. So there is no such thing called as priority, whose printing job has to be executed first. Okay, or randomly it will take off and randomly it will print the paper. So the very most required operating system is a multi-user operating system for the printing job. So each user can access to the same document on the own PCs. This is also possible by the multi-user operating system. For example, if one computer has a song or a movie, then other computer attached to it by the wire or wireless can be having access to the song or the movie that is there on the PCs. The next advantage is it is used in airline reservation system or ticket reservation system or airline controlling system, where many users are logging into the airline reservation system or railway reservation system to reserve their seat or ticket. So airline also uses this system and ticket reservation is done by this system. Teachers and library staff can also use this in the digital library where I need to read the book, okay, from the digital copy. So I can search for the textbook whether it is present in the library or not. So the book record in a store, it is also used in other purposes also, where I need to ask whether the particular author book is available into the store or bookstore or not. So if one computer in the network, because the multi-user operating system is connected or multi-users are connected through the networking, the network is connection of or interconnection of two or more autonomous computers for the purpose of sharing the resource. So whenever there are multiple things joining to a single PC or single server, so there need to be a network that is established. That is, network is nothing but connection between two or more computers. You can take it as in a small way. So if one networked computer or one among the network computer gets failed or get affected, the entire system runs efficiently. It will not get affected by the effect of the network. The next type of operating system we have is the time sharing operating system. The word time sharing is provided when the CPU is sharing its CPU cycle to the other process. Because it is implementing multi-programming. Multi-programming is a context where the CPU will be shifting from one process to the another process. The time or deadline time will be given for the CPU when it has to move from one process to another process. The time that is been fixed in which the CPU has to shift from one process to the another process, we will call it as the time slice. Okay, we will talk about that. So time sharing system provides a good terminal response and provides an illusion of total dedication, making it, that is, showing as if your program is getting executed, but you are being illuminated. Your eyes are seeing something, but it is logically happening something in the background. So like example, we took the copying of 5 files. All the files will be showing you an image as if they are being copied, but internally only one file is being moved. But the CPU uses the very smart way of handling this, that is by using the time sharing. So time sharing operating system is that in which each task is given some time to execute. That we will call it as a time slice. So the particular time on which the CPU has to execute the instructions, so that we will call it as the time slice. So all the tasks are given time so that all the processes running or runs on the computer seamlessly without any problem, okay, without any much difficulties, okay, it runs on the computer. So suppose there are many users which are attached to a single system, then each user has a given time of CPU to get their work done, okay. So from one user to the another user, the CPU will be shifting and that will be sharing the time. So no user will feel that as if it has a trouble in using the system resources, but all the users will get certain dedicated time of the CPU, that we will call it as a time slice. So most of the time sharing operating system adopt the technology of time slicing or the algorithm that we have in the example called as round robin scheduling algorithm. The word round robin scheduling algorithm, see, there are colors of boxes you have. So this is a process 1, this is a process 2, and this is process 3. How many jobs are there in the process 1? The process 1 is further divided into 1, 2, 3, job 1, 2, 3, or P1, P2, P3. Here we will name it as P1, P2, P3, P4, P5 and P6. Okay, let us give the number. So all this will go into the CPU for the execution. Then it will see that many users have applied or many programs have come for execution. Then round robin, what it will do? It will take the first job, that is P1 from the number 1 and starts its execution. See, this is number 1. It has come. Then it will take from here the next job. Then this will be executed. Then it will take from here the next job that will be executed. So from each one it has taken, then it will move to the first one, very first one. From it here, it will take the second one, that is over here. From here, it will take the second one. Like this, it will be rotating. That is called as round robin scheduling algorithm, because it is moving in a clockwise direction, giving a particular time for execution. So this is the time where each program is going to get executed. Certain seconds will be given. For example, if it is given 10 seconds, this will be given 10 seconds, this will be given 10 seconds. Then when finishes, it will come to the round again, another round. This will be given 10 seconds, this will be given 10 seconds. This is already finished. Okay, if the time slice given is the 10 seconds. So this is the very best example of sharing the CPU time among the many users. The next kind of operating system we have is the real-time operating system. The real-time operating system is nothing but the ability of an operating system to provide required level of service in a bonded response time. There will be certain time, in that time only should provide the response. Okay. So, for example, you say when you are having a entertainment system, when you click on the play button, it has to respond and play the sound. Okay, like in the car, audio system, audio amplifier, media player, okay, etc. Or the example, driver information system, that is the dashboard, that is speedometer and all these things. When the key is on, it has to show a display. So automatically it should get a response. Response time is given. Safety. Nowadays car comes with high-tech technology. It can also sense the pressure of the air in the tires, and it will be indicating to the driver on the dashboard, on the driver wheel side, that the particular tire on your right or in your left, first tire or second tire, is having less air or less pressure, so that you can fill out the air into the tires. Or if the door is not closed properly, it will show which door is not closed properly, and it will be giving you a beep sound. So that is the bounded response time will be there in the real-time operating system. So it responds to the input immediately. That is why we call it as real-time operating system. Here the task is completed within a specified time delay. In real life situation like controlling traffic control lights, you see 10 seconds, 30 seconds, it will be red, after that it will go green. Okay, or nuclear reactor or an aircraft flying or traffic on the airlines are all the examples of the real-time systems. The operating system has to respond very quickly. Okay, response time should be very quick. So with the very best examples that we have in the real-time operating system is air traffic control system, vehicle subsystem, that you can see, that is robotic arms which are welding, soldering, or performing different jobs on the vehicle, okay, or building a car. Nuclear power plant to control the different areas of nuclear power plant, okay, like fusion or fission. The nuclear energy should be controlled in an environment. So all that thing will be taken care of the real-time system. Okay, in the next class we'll be exploring the other kind of operating system. Thank you.